good for her in kind of building her comfort level around kids and all that kind of stuff too. As you can tell, she's a little bit nervous by it, and she's like, I think I just want to get out of here. But it's important for her to learn that nothing scary is going to happen. They're not going to hurt you. Bed. Good. So what you said about like the collar smart almost type of thing where she's figuring that out, that can be pretty normal in the beginning if we're having a little bit of like inconsistency where it's on sometimes and then off sometimes, because then they start to figure out that like, hold on, when I'm not wearing it, they can't really enforce like the same expectations. So just try your best to be as consistent with it as you can, and that's how you can combat that. Maisie, bed. So we're gonna start adding our e-collar into our bed command. So what that's gonna look like is I'd like her to have all 4 feet on the bed when I give her the command, and then she needs to stay here until we release her. Okay, so our okay is what releases her from that. We'll bring her back around, I'll give her the command again. Maisie, bed. Good girl. If she were to step down prematurely before I give her the release, we'll mark with our word no. That will follow with a correction. And the only thing that's different when we're correcting for obedience is that then we follow up with the command again to basically like reiterate what she should have been doing. Okay? Maisie, bed. No. Bed. Good job. No. Bed. Good job. Very nice. And this is something like a skill that we've been working on for a couple weeks now. So I'm confident that she has a good understanding of what we're asking her to do and what the expectations are, that we can start doing a little bit of the corrections along with continued help with the leash if we need to. Okay? So the bed command is nice because you can tell her to go to her bed, and ultimately what it'll look like is she goes there and she stays there for however long you need her to be. Maisie, bed. You do this while we talk. And that could be a practical application of that could be you put her on the bed so that you can have your guests come in the door and she's out of the way. Because obviously as she gets much bigger, obviously we're going to teach her that she's not allowed to jump on people and behave inappropriately, but just her mere presence at the doorway is probably going to be annoying at times if you're trying to carry in food or get grandma on the door or whatever it might be. So having somewhere you can put her that's out of the way can help. It also can be really helpful with kids because say that Maisie really wants a break from the kids. This makes a very clear boundary of if Maisie is on her bed, leave her alone. You're not allowed to pet her or go pester her or anything like that. That can be really helpful. It's also good if you're like eating or cooking or cleaning, things like that can be really useful. It like triggers it. So yes, I mean there's definitely a way you can classically condition in that. What I have found is that through the process of like someone rings the doorbell, you tell the dog to go to the bed, over time that kind of naturally happens. So one of the last training facilities that I used to work at, our building had like a buzzer system that would go off. And what was hilarious was that my dog, I would usually have him out, and he'd just hang out in the training room wherever he wanted to. And as soon as the buzzer would go off, he would actually get up and he would just go to one of the beds. So a lot of times they naturally just kind of pick up on that through time. But if she doesn't and we want to classically condition that in, I can definitely walk you through how to do that and we can do it. Okay? Good girl. Maisie, bed? No? Bed? Good girl. I have her on like a 14 for reference. Reason we're doing it a little lower than we would do if she was like jumping or play biting or anything is just because when we're correcting for non-compliance of like a command, it's a little bit more nuanced in the beginning because she's having to perform a behavior in order to be successful, and so it takes a little bit more effort and thought on her part. So I'm not going to come in too hard and heavy with the corrections right away, just because I don't want her to get like, you know, feel defeated or down in the dumps and everything. So we're using this to add clarification of like, nope, that's not the correct one, but in a little bit more of like a gracious way, I guess, of not quite, try again type of thing. Good job. Okay. Maisie, bed. Good girl. That was really good. Yeah, that was really good. You didn't need any help on that one. Okay. Bed. Good. And I'm not going to move on to like dropping the leash or trying to walk away or anything quite yet, especially since just getting onto the bed and executing the command is a little bit difficult for her right now. That's kind of step one. So we want to make sure that she really understands fluidly when we ask you to do this, this is what we need you to do, before we would take it to the next step of more difficulty. Okay? Very nice. And we talked about some of the practical applications of the command, but another thing that's worth mentioning is that because she's so clingy and she has a lot of that like separation anxiety brewing there, you know, under the first surface at times, the bed also kind of helps her mentally learn how to be a little more independent. You know, because we can put her there and she has to stay there while you go do dishes and while you do stuff with the kids or whatever it might be. And that way it kind of forces her to learn how to be more confident on her own instead of her, you know, wanting to follow you around everywhere and be a part of everything and all that kind of stuff. Come on. Bed. Good girl. Now we'll add a little bit more difficulty. We drop our leash and we just go a little bit further away. I'm always going to come back to her to release her. So I never want to walk away and then release her when I'm far. I want to make sure I come back. Okay. Good girl. Bed. Good. Oh. She said, I didn't do it on purpose. Now with this, I would still correct it the same way that I had been previously, where if a foot hits the ground, I can still verbally tell her the NO. I can tap, and then I'm just going to go get her from wherever she ends up. Calmly walk her back to the bed and then just restart her. Good job. Okay. She really brought her A game today. Perfect for her nail trim, doing great on these beds. Are you guys feeling better about everything at home too? Like with how everything's going and stuff, as far as like her confidence and sociability with people and everything? Yeah. Very good.
She'll hear something that just freaks her out. She
Sure.
wants to go home. But
Sure.
hopefully she'll just get over it.
Yeah, it'll take some time. And in those moments, are you just continuing and being like, we're just gonna keep walking? Does she eventually get over it, or do you feel like she's still kind of like jumpy the rest of the walk?
She's pretty jumpy.
Pretty jumpy the rest of the walk. Will she take treats or food or anything in those moments?
I haven't tried. I usually
Okay.
just like, okay, and then we keep going.
Okay. I would say, so how you're doing it right now is fine, but something you could add in additionally is take like cheese or hot dogs, like cut up hot dog, like something really, really enticing. And then when she hears something that scares her, immediately give her food. And then like for the next like 30 to 50 feet that you're walking, just like keep pumping her full of like hot dogs or cheese. So it kind of calms her nervous system down a little bit, and she's also gonna be like, oh, so when that happens, I actually get like a ton of snacks that are really delicious. So it changes her association a little bit. So maybe try that this week with her. Yeah. Okay. Perfect, that's great. I did something similar with my Chihuahua. For whatever reason, he went through a period where he was scared of like soccer balls and kickballs and stuff like that. And so what I did was I deflated like a kickball a little bit and made like a little dish almost out of it. And he ate his meals out of it for like a week straight. And he's like, well, this is the only way I eat is with this thing, I guess. So I have to get used to it. And then now he doesn't have any issue with it. So that's a perfect technique that you did with that. Good job. And there's even like through this fence over here, she can see them running around with the dogs and everything, and she's doing really well. Okay. Bed. Good girl. Do you want to do a couple laps around the room again and distract him? Yeah, she's like, I don't chase children. Noted. She's thinking about it. No. And so there I marked with my no, I tapped my button, and then again, I'm just very calmly, you don't have to feel like you're in a rush. Gonna come get her, bring her back. Come on, Maisie. Bed. Put her right back up there. You can run again though.
So like, if I want to run around, but we sleep in the bed?
Yeah, she has to stay on the bed. Those are the rules. And this is also, no, Maisie, bed. Good for her and kind of building her comfort level around kids and all that kind of stuff too. As you can tell, she's a little bit nervous by it. And she's like, I think I just want to get out of here. But it's important for her to learn that nothing scary is going to happen. They're not going to hurt you. Good job. Good girl. And because I could tell that the distraction of him running around was difficult for her, I decided to help her by just coming and being close to her rather than being further away. Because when we're working on stationary, thank you, you can take a break. You did a good job. High five. Yeah, you can take a break. She needs a break, you need a break. I appreciate your help. With the stationary command like this, there's like 3 aspects you can really hone in on. You could do distance work, you could do duration, which is like obviously like the length of time she stays on here, and then also the distractions. So we were working initially just on the distance of it, and then when I had him start running around, that's the, you can go ahead, that's the distraction piece of it. So, you good? Good recovery. So with the distraction being a little bit more difficult, I decided to reel in the distance. So really focusing on just like one of the D's at the time, really. And she's doing a lot better now with the distraction part of it. Good job, Maisie. Very nice. Okay. Come on. Good job. Maisie, bed. Very good. Yeah, so at home this week when you practice these, you can kind of hone in on those 3 separate ones of like, let's work on distance. Okay, now let's work on some distractions. And distractions could be, again, the kids. It could be you're vacuuming. It could be you ring the doorbell, like we talked about. It could be you pretend to talk to somebody at the front door. You open the fridge. Some dogs try to get excited and run over to the fridge if you're opening the fridge. Like just little things like that to challenge her. And then the duration part of it, maybe while like the kids are eating a meal or there's food out or whatever, you could challenge her by saying, okay, you're gonna stay on here for 10 minutes. And if she breaks it at any point throughout those periods, again, you just tell her no, you give her a correction, and then you just guide her right back over and restart it at that point.
Okay. Is it a build-up or just 10 minutes? Kind of
I would say like you could probably start with like 5 minutes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because she's probably already done now at this point, maybe 2 or 3 since I put her there. So you could start, you know, same, and then maybe do 5, and then build up to 7 or 8, and then try 10. You know, a key with something like this is you want it to be challenging but still attainable. So like if you feel like, so for instance, with him running around and me over here, that was unattainable. She kept breaking the command, right? She was like, I can't do this. So to make it challenging but still attainable, I said, okay, well, how about if we keep the distraction, but I come over and I shorten the distance, right? And then she's like, okay, I can handle that. So if you notice moments like that where you're like, wow, she's like failing over and over and over again, kind of look at the overall picture and be like, in what areas do I think this is maybe too challenging, and how do I shrink that back a little bit to still push her out of her comfort zone but make it so that she can still be successful. Wow, Maisie. So cute. Very nice. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this one more time, and if Maisie stays on the bed, you can give her another treat. Perfect. Very good. And again, you can tell that this, even when he like ran up to her really fast, she got a little bit spooked, but then he gave her a treat. All of that is really good. We don't want to avoid things that make her uncomfortable. We just want to make sure we address them in a way that's productive and is going to help build her confidence in the future and desensitize her to it. You know, obviously, a life around kids is something that's unavoidable. So if we were like trying to coach her on like, don't behave like a kid around the dog, that would just set her up for failure. So him doing normal kid stuff like that and then following it up with treats and things like that is all just going to help desensitize her to that type of approach, and then also make it more positive because she's getting something good out of it too. Because that type of reaction was pretty subtle. You know, she wasn't having a huge like, oh my gosh, I need to run and completely dart away, and she wasn't getting overly defensive with any like barking or anything like that. In that context, if she did respond in any of those ways, I would correct her for it. So if she ever barked at him for just doing kid stuff and things like that, I would correct her for it. If she were to get off of the bed, because that's the command she is in, we would also correct her for that then too, and put her right back up there. The nuance to that, of course, is that there is a certain line that you can draw of like, okay, yes, if a kid is gonna behave like a kid around you, I need you to tolerate it and recognize that it's not a threat. But also, I'm gonna advocate for you and make sure that a kid doesn't do anything that's like overtly crossing like very clear boundaries, right? So like, I would correct Everett if he ran over here and like bear hugged her, or like tried to lay on top of her, or do anything crazy like that. Similarly with strange kids, but how he's behaving is very normal, and we need her to start getting kind of used to that.
Oh my goodness, Arthur. We've been so excited when we found out
So sorry.
he's a Clumber Spaniel.
My goodness, yes. These are very, very sweet and playful.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Do you have any questions about our board and train program? Anything I can answer? Hello, cutie.
I don't think so. Archie was with you guys. He was our other
Yeah.
member, but he was older. I'm just excited for him to get
Sure.
some structure.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I was reading over his paperwork a bit, and it looks like you're just kind of struggling with some puppy stuff, the jumping.
Stuff. He's very, very mouthy.
Okay.
Like he wants to, like to him it's playing. But he uses his mouth a lot,
Yeah.
which has been interesting. I feel like our other dogs use their noses or their tongues. He is all mouth and teeth.
Yes, and that's a painful stage, huh?
So it's tough because in those situations, we just don't have a way to kind of tell him
Yes,
just
to
stop,
cut it
like,
out.
to correct him beyond like.
That's more of like
Anyway,
the opposite.
so I think that's like another kind of big challenge for him. Like I don't want him to be a dog that's biting people. And
Of
right
course,
now he is.
yeah.
But it's like, oh, he's a puppy and he's mouthing. But it's like they shouldn't be running up behind somebody, jumping on them,
Yes,
and using
yeah.
their teeth.
Yeah, so that doesn't become a habit into his adult
Because
life.
he's definitely like I know he's playing, but it's mouth. It's
Sure.
teeth and mouth.
Yes,
And
yeah.
So I think just tools to be able to correct that.
Okay.
It's kind of getting too. It's getting
Too rowdy,
rough.
yeah.
Yeah, a little too rowdy, a little bit too much energy.
We'll see a lot of
Yes. He's very affectionate.
Yes, it looks
very
like it.
cuddly, very social, friendly.
Okay.
Like I said, he wants to play with the mouth.
Okay.
I just don't want that to go
Of course,
somewhere that
sure.
as he gets bigger, we don't have any way to
Yeah.
kind of correct him and tell him no, that's hurting somebody.
Sure, yeah. Hi. So just looking to curb some of that puppy behavior, instill
Yes.
good
Again,
habits,
the good habits I think is the big.
grow our adult dog into a fine gentleman.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
And then I think the last like major thing is he's very scared on a leash.
Okay.
He doesn't have confidence. It's really hard to get him to go on a walk actually unless
Okay.
like all of our family is
Yes.
there.
Okay.
Like I'm talking will sit at the end of the driveway and refuses.
Okay.
Refuses to move.
Okay.
And I know that's because he's scared.
Sure.
It's like a confidence thing. So I think just helping him gain some confidence on a leash,
Mm-hmm.
getting more comfortable, like, I don't know, walking and, I mean, he pulls, but it's nothing that's like, I don't
Mm-hmm. Okay.
know. His pulling is because
Yeah.
he always wants to be next to all the humans.
Sure.
But we live in Ohio and it's
Yeah.
dark.
Yes.
But we need to go on a walk.
Yeah.
Like he literally won't go
Okay.
on a walk if it's dark. Because
Yeah.
he's so scared.
Yeah.
So I think just helping him gain
Build the
some
confidence.
that
Sure.
he's safe, it's going to be okay. You know.
Yeah, I think you brought him at a perfect stage in his life where we can start to make sure that we're focusing on what we want the
Exactly.
adult dog to be
Yes.
like, rather than just the puppy in front of us. and making sure we're building his confidence, kind of
Yes.
curbing some of that puppy stuff, so you can ultimately have a really enjoyable life with him.
We want to, again, it's like we want to be able to have the structure too to like correct him
Sure.
and help him because we don't have any of that. And,
Yeah.
So that will help us too. He needs to meet other dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
He needs to socialize with other dogs, and he hasn't really gotten that. And I kind of want, this will help, I think, with that piece of it too.
Sure.
Because he hasn't gotten a lot of those opportunities just because I didn't really want to take him to a dog park, but then our neighbor dog, so like,
Yeah.
no, the dog can't come near him. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
well, all right.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
stay opposite sides of the street forever.
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah, it's important that, especially at his age, that we cultivate really good socialization, so he doesn't have a bad experience, and then that leads to a fearful life of other
Yes.
dogs.
Yes, like I feel like he's very curious with other dogs, and he's not like his energy seems like the right energy to meet
Yes,
the other
yeah.
dog, but then the other owner will like take
Yeah,
their
yeah.
dog across the street, and
Sure.
I'm like, oh, is there any way they could just kind of meet the leash or like, and I was like,
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
I think that's best, though, like, because we don't
Yeah.
really recommend on-leash greetings because they can go
Okay.
sour so quickly.
Yeah.
Where if dogs don't feel like they have autonomy to get away if they're feeling uncomfortable, they're going to go with their fight response, fight or
Yes.
flight.
Okay.
And sometimes that can lead them to feel a little bit more tense. So we'll make sure to socialize him, and then in your send home lesson, we'll go over some productive socialization.
I think we got some updates every so often.
Yes, yeah.
So,
We'll do a 1-week phone call update. So on the 1-week mark, I can give you a call and let you know how he's doing, what he's been doing the last week or so.
Okay.
And then from there, we'll schedule a phone call weekly.
okay.
Nice. So we're really excited to have
He loves
him.
to chew on the
Yeah.
shoelaces, so.
Just go ahead, buddy. Go for it. Any?
Please also know we're not married to this harness. It's because
Yeah.
the kids
No, that's
like
okay.
to walk him,
Yes.
and right now he can't be in a different kind of
Yeah,
harness.
yeah. I agree. With his age too, it's okay for him to be on a
Yeah,
harness.
it's not something that we're like, yeah, we're a harness crew, but
Yes.
I just because he walks best when.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I know, and they're seeing.
Yes. So our intentions with a puppy or a dog this young is going to be just to build that confidence and get
Yes.
him to have some good structure and
Yes.
balance in his life, crate
Yes.
training, things like
Yeah,
that.
but
Just being a puppy.
yeah,
Huh?
he's sweet.
Hi. We're so excited to work with you. So we'll kind of essentially teach what the e-collar means and start to condition the feeling of the e-collar. So we can teach him how to avoid corrections long term and train him a little bit utilizing this. So our goal is to eventually graduate from the prong entirely, but I want to be able to do it in a productive way where he understands what we're asking him, and it's not just like I'm pressing the button and he has no idea what to do. So I'm hooking us up to a speaker so you know when I'm utilizing the, and the sound is just for the humans, it doesn't do anything to train him. Just gives you a good idea of my timing. I'll take his leash from you. Hi, Enzo. Hi, buddy. What did you say his name was at the shelter?
Thor.
Thor, that's right.
Call him Enzo, but pretty much Enzo Thor.
And what's his full name again?
Enzo Thor Ferrari and Melissa.
So we'll start the e-collar for walking first. So we're going to do something called tap and turn. So I have the e-collar set, and I'm just going to be doing exactly what I was doing last week with the prong. So last week, as we were like turning and he was learning how to move with the pressure, it's basically the same thing with the e-collar. So I'm going to start really light here and just kind of gauge what his working levels are. And I will tap when he's out of my space. So we're walking.
He's been pretty good with the palm contact.
Yeah.
He knows that means stay close to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes he turns around and looks at you if we stop moving.
Good.
He's wagging.
Okay. So yes, he does. Level-wise, I'm kind of trying to determine where he's at. So I'm just gonna kind of work him a little.
You know, something's
Okay.
up. He started to learn.
Yeah. So initially, I don't want the e-collar level to be so high that it's hard for him to focus. We want to start where it's just uncomfortable enough to get his attention, but not so uncomfortable that we're seeing screaming, yelping at this stage of things. And long term, we adjust the levels based on like if he's doing a bad behavior, like getting into a fight with your other dog, we would correct higher. For training and obedience, we're going to use what's working. Cool.
Does that and walking with them like?
There you go, good.
Walking with them like that, does it naturally teach them heel?
Yes, yeah, so he's gonna understand the boundaries, like when we give him the come command, it means we want him at our heel, so we're naturally conditioning that positioning. We're still gonna give him free time and let him use his nose on walks when we tell him he can. But we'll start to clean up, like if we're walking and he's going to smell this tree and this garbage can and this pole, like we're gonna try to curb some of that. Good. Good. I love your little steps.
That's how I know when he gets his nails cut.
How does he do for nail trims and handling?
It's hard at first, but then like he's very submissive.
Mm-hmm.
I go
Yes.
into the bathroom with him because he, whenever he wants to avoid something, he goes
Yeah.
in his cage. It's hard at first, but it's very easy compared to the other one.
Yes.
The greetings and the feedings are really the only
Okay.
thing that's wrong.
The greetings and the feedings.
Yeah.
So like when people come over,
Oh yeah, the jumping, and even with me when Anthony and I come home too, it's we have to ignore him for a while.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to do because he'll jump. I think that's like a great Dane thing. Like jumps.
yes.
And he's friendly about it, but he's
Sure.
so big and it.
Yeah. It's definitely we want to set a boundary
Following,
there.
and then if someone's giving Sophie attention, he jumps in front of
Yeah.
her. And embarrassing to say the least.
Good boy, yes. So this week, we'll kind of start a soft launch on the e-collar. I don't want him to get overwhelmed. So let's pick like one behavioral thing we're gonna start correcting for, jumping. So anytime paws are on people, I want you to mark with no right when he does it, and then follow up with a correction. So again, we wanna go a little bit higher because we're trying to eradicate a behavior, not teach something. I want him not to jump, so I have to associate every time you jump, there's an uncomfortable feeling associated with that. So even if your remote is in another room and you say no right when those paws get on you, you have time to go into the next room and get it and still follow through with the correction. You're doing so good. You're so smart. Yes, you're so smart. And then obedience-wise, we'll have you practice like tap and turn throughout the week. So I'm only using it for stopping behaviors like the jumping. We can address barking and other behaviors later. Good. You're making this too easy.
And that's the tap and turn, right?
Yes.
So are you tapping it every time you're turning?
No, you hear like that beeping.
Right.
It's only when his attention is on something else. So if we go up to page here.
The culprit.
Yes,
What are the different sounds?
it's the levels. So right now, we have explored many, many different levels. Like I obviously start lower and then I'm still sensing that he's not feeling it. So we've gone up, right now we're at 72. So as I was utilizing the e-collar when he was smelling Paige's feet, he had no response, like no reaction. So generally that means to me that the level's too low or the fit is not right, because 72 is pretty high up there. Good.
You look like a pro, buddy.
Yes. Good. He said, yeah, I basically am.
He's one of those dogs in general, that for as dumb as they are, they're smart.
Yes.
Like he's dopey dumb, but he's a really smart dog.
Yeah. There you go. Good. So I could see that he felt that one. He was like, what is that? Yeah. Yeah, balance training done properly, like utilizing tools, like yes, it's an uncomfortable sensation, but your dog shouldn't be scared to come to training. Your dog shouldn't be scared of their trainer.
I think he's so social, even though
Yeah.
he doesn't have a super duper social life. So I think he likes this. He's got lots of
Yes.
cousins and stuff to hang out with.
Yeah. Beautiful. And there you go. Perfect. And then if you pass us and he doesn't come over, mark that immediately with good and then reward. So we're also capitalizing on the behaviors he's doing well.
Good boy, good boy. He gets very distracted.
Yeah.
Is it okay if he looks away and doesn't approach?
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Nosy.
Yeah. We want to see that he's not acting on the behavior. So he's allowed to look at me, but as you turn,
Enzy.
there you go. Perfect.
That was really good.
I didn't press the thing,
Yeah.
so that's good. Good boy.
So next time you're circling me, let your leash be nice and loose and kind of come really close to me. And if he goes off and smells me, you're going to mark with no and give him a correction.
Good boy.
Nice. Him being easily distracted, we want to be able to teach him to focus on the task at hand. So just walking with mom and turning with you without being like, oh, what does she have? What does dad have?
Right, because that's a good trick for like if you're on a walk. You
Yes.
can say, oh, I gotta go the other way.
Yeah. Or if a stranger or somebody comes out and is like, oh my God, I love dogs.
Then you want them. Yeah, Enzo would have.
Yeah. And we want him to be like, Mom, is it okay if I say hi?
It's always like, I swear they're friendly.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy. Oh, good boy.
Good job. That was awesome.
That was a good boy.
So we want to allow him to fix himself. Like obviously if he makes the mistake, we want to correct him, but I also want him to start problem solving. Like, oh, if I just follow mom, I avoid that correction completely. He's like, what is that thing? Nice. Good. So now we can see he's kind of actively choosing to avoid going over to Paige and checking out the camera. Nice.
Because you want that to be something that they get your approval to do.
Yes.
So eventually we'll probably say like it's okay and then see.
Yes. Like,
Give him some freedom.
yeah, we typically don't recommend a lot of like letting strangers interact with your dog. One, because we don't want him to value strangers over you. And two, any dog, like even if he hasn't bitten anybody, is the potential if he feels uncomfortable.
Right.
So in the future, if you have him at a family gathering, for instance, we'd want him, if he's in command, to be able to listen to you until released. So even if it's like somebody he absolutely loves versus somebody he doesn't like that much, we want to see the impulse control on both sides. Nice, good boy.
So good.
You guys are gonna have some good dog time.
Yes. So moments that he like looks at something and then ultimately doesn't make the decision, just mark with good and reward that.
You got it.
Beautiful.
See if he notices
The
the
cigar? Alright, I'll walk past it. I'll make a loop.
I have the only other toy he likes too. The
He's
only
also
thing
probably
that
surprised to see it here.
distracts him really.
Alright, second time.
Oh,
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. And we can see the dog start to just naturally be like, okay, I'm going to avoid that.
he's a good boy.
Alright, we're gonna get close this time. Then I'm gonna walk fast away.
Good boy.
Nice. Beautiful.
Boy, sit.
Nice. So I'd have you start this in your house, like when you go to do a session, the prong collar's on, the e-collar's attached, and you just do a lot of tap and turn around, maybe like go into the kitchen.
What we're doing here, but at home.
Yes. And then if you feel adventurous, take it outside, maybe start in, like if you have a driveway, go up and down the driveway, and you'll start to pay attention to the things that really distract him. And it's the same process where we're giving that stim when he deviates from you.
Everyone will go, oh my God, finally gonna turn.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Good. I mean, that's his toy, where like if he's
Yeah.
annoying us, it's in his world, time to eat or something, I give it to him, he takes it and
Yeah.
throws it back in his mouth.
Good boy.
We call it his cigar because it
Yeah.
used to be really long. And he would walk around the house like this and it would just be sticking
Yeah.
out of his mouth. Good boy.
He said resist the urge. Nice.